What's happening, everyone? This is Uncle Devin, the children's drum cushionist, and I am so glad that you're joining us again for another wonderful edition of We Nation Radio. That's right, We Nation, the best in family-friendly global beats for little feet. We stands for Watoto Entertainment and Education, and Watoto is a Swahili word that means children. And we bring you the best in R&B, hip-hop, funk, jazz, reggae, go-go, calypso, African world rhythms, and more, all for children 0 to 12. You can find more about us by going to our website at wenationradio.com. That's not the right website. That's my website. You can follow us at wenationradio.com. Or go to We Nation Radio or email us at music@wenationradio.com. And then you can follow us on all of our social media platforms at We Nation with 2 E's. So don't forget to follow us, and you can learn more and more about what we do. And of course, we have our companion, which is We Nation Podcast. And that's what this is. This is where we bring you awesome, stories, behind the scenes work by those who are doing amazing work for children and families all around the world. I am so honored to have the opportunity to work with this excellent organization. One of the program directors reached out to me, who's my first guest today, the one and only Davita Brown, with the organization, of course, with the nation's capital chapter of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. Welcome to We Nation Radio.
Thank you so much, Uncle Devin, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, and I should say We Nation Podcast. This is the podcast that's companion to the radio station. So tell us, first of all, a little bit about, your role with the organization, and talk to us a little bit about this project and a little bit about the organization.
Perfect. So again, happy to be here. So let me tell you a bit about Jack and Jill of America, Inc. So Jack and Jill boasts 252 chapters nationwide, representing more than 40,000 family members. We are an organization of mothers with children's ages 2 through 19, and we are dedicated to nurturing future African American leaders by strengthening children through leadership development, volunteer service, philanthropic giving, and civic duty. Now, each chapter plans annual program activities guided under 5 general principles that we call programmatic thrusts: cultural awareness, educational development, health, civic, and social recreational areas. Now, I am with the nation's capital chapter of Jack and Jill of America. We are located in Washington, D.C. We are one of 2 chapters in Washington, D.C. I currently serve as the program director, and I am under the esteemed leadership of our chapter president, Shundali Cost, and our chapter is a member of the Eastern region under the leadership of Melinda Alexis Hayes. So that's a little bit about Jack and Jill and the nation's capital chapter.
That is awesome. And thank you. And thank you to all the leadership that makes the organization what it is. And thank you for being here today. And I believe you also have another one of your members. Is it Barbara Mitchell?
Yes, Chair Barbara.
I want to bring her on board, and we can talk a little bit more, introduce her to the program. Welcome to We Nation Podcast.
It's my honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Okay. And talk a little bit about your involvement with the organization and with this project.
Absolutely. So my name is Barbara Mitchell, and I serve as the Gavel Club counselor for the nation's capital chapter of our Gavel Club, and I co-lead with Carlin Hunter. And we've had an amazing time getting to know the kids who we lovingly call Gaveliers that participate in the Gavel Club. And so there are about 10 of the children that participate. And, really, it's been a labor of love. I was asked to co-lead the Gavel Club with Carlin Hunter and also serve as the chair and the legislative liaison for the chapter as well. And so if you talk to any mother, especially any Black mother, you have to kind of overlap. So I was interested in allowing the Gavel Club or the Gavaliers to start doing some advocacy so that I could kind of mark two things off, if you will,
Right,
be
that's
leading them,
Yes.
but also be meeting our legislative advocacy goals. And so that's kind of how we merge the two interests together.
Okay, wonderful. And so let's get into what this project is all about, and bring in some of the awesome young minds that have helped to make this project what it is. I want and Davida, you can help me make sure we introduce everyone. But I know we have Kai Corbett coming to us. We'll introduce them in just a moment. Riley Jarman and Simone Grant Brown. Welcome to
Yes.
We Nation. Welcome to We Nation podcast.
Yes, so these are some of our bright stars
Yes.
in our chapter inside. And so Kai Corbett, he actually served as the past president for our Gavel Club, and he's served as an outstanding president and is passionate about public speaking. And so we certainly wanted him to come on and share what he's done in this area with DC Statehood. And then we also have Riley, who again is also a shining star and has been just outstanding as she's developed over the year as a Gavalier. And then Simone Grant Brown, now she wears two hats. She is also a Gavalier, but she also contributed to the DC Statehood song. So she was able to participate in both aspects of the initiative.
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing the song as a part of this podcast. We won't do it here right now, so you may not hear it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I want to know what each one of you all's role was, either in the song or the overall project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Simone. I want you to introduce yourself, tell us what grade you're in, and where do you live?
Hi, my name is Simone Grant Brown. I live in Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, and I am in grade 6.
Wonderful. And what role did you play in this DC Statehood project?
Well, in the DC Statehood song, I was in the chorus, and then at the end of the song, I did a little bit of words.
Oh, well, now talk a little bit about your experience with being that. Have you recorded before? Was this your first time recording, or have you had experience with this?
This was my first time recording, and it was actually a really great experience, and I'm glad that I could do it.
Yeah, it's something that you'll remember for the rest of your life, but you'll never really know how many people you're touching with your song, and that's the beauty of music. Music just takes a life of its own. Okay, thank you for that, and let me go to Riley. Share with us a little bit about what grade you're in, where you live, and what role did you play in this project?
Hi, my name is Riley Jarman. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm from Colonial Village, Washington, D.C., in Ward 4.
Okay, I'm a Ward 4 resident. Yes, I'm in Riggs Park. Okay, all right. And what role did you play in this project?
My role was to present examples of different arguments against DC statehood.
Whoa, so it's like a debate almost.
Yes.
That's a great way of learning. And what did you learn? Give me one thing that you learned. What's one of the arguments, if I can put you on the spot? If it's too much, don't worry about it. What's one of the arguments for, and what's one of the arguments against? Can you think of two real quick?
One argument against DC statehood is that it would require a constitutional amendment, or that it violates the 23rd Amendment.
Ah, okay, that's great. And then, well, I'm gonna leave it there, and we'll come back and we'll add and talk a little bit more, because eventually I'm gonna ask each one of you your thoughts about DC statehood. But let's go over to Kyrie. Did I hit that right, Kyrie?
Kai.
I'm sorry, Kai. You know what? And I said it right the first time. How did I mess that up again? So Kai, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you live, and what role did you play in this project?
I'm Kai Corbett. I'm in the 7th grade. I live in Ward 5, and what I did was I kind of stated how people care about our tax money and our military service, yet don't really care about our statehood or what we think matters.
Wow, that is powerful. So they care about all this other stuff, but when it comes to our rights, they just kind of ignore that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm just going to ask some general questions, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the song and the role that I played in that as well. But it ain't about me; it's about you all. Why do you believe, and I guess I'll start with you, Simone, and we'll work our way around. Why do you believe that children should know about Emancipation Day or about DC Statehood? Why do you think that's important?
I think children should know about DC Emancipation Day just because that is the day when 3,000 slaves had been freed by Abraham Lincoln. And I just think that's really powerful and that all children in the world should know that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And a lot of people don't really realize a lot of that history. And there's so much history that we can go in. I'm a history buff. I used to be a youth director for young folks your age. And I used to, my thing is always sharing with them information that they can pass on to others. And so, okay, thank you so much for that. Let's see. Let's go down. Let's continue. Riley, I'm going to ask you the next question. Do you feel that students should be aware of the movement for DC Statehood? And if so, why?
I feel that they should, because I feel that this movement is for the sake of their futures. And I don't think it's very fair that DC is the only entity within the United States whose citizens are taxed without sharing the full rights and privileges of citizenship. So in other words, DC citizens are taxed like a state without actually being a state. So I don't think that's very fair to the citizens of DC. I just don't think that's very fair.
And I hope that other children that are watching this, or other people that are watching this, really understand that we here in Washington, D.C. don't have a representation in Congress. We don't have a vote, and that all the other states pretty much can dictate and do dictate the laws, or have to approve the laws that we have here in the District of Columbia. So that was thank you for sharing that, Riley. And Kyrie, I ask you yourself, why do you think this whole movement is important, and why do you think other students should be aware of it?
Well, I feel as though, due to the fact that politicians know kids' voices are influential, they don't want my peers to get the chance to do things like these activities. And I feel as though kids should have a choice to do important activities like this to help influence their countries, and so they can, when they grow up, they can work and know how to do this and have an example on how to do this.
Absolutely. David, I'm gonna come back to you, and I'm gonna come back to these awesome young people in just a minute. Talk about the song. Who came up with the idea of creating the song, and how did that all come about? Oh, I think you're still on mute.
Oops.
So there you go.
Yep, I am back. So I came up with the idea to have a song. So as you know, go-go music is the official music of the District of Columbia. Again, I am a resident of DC. I grew up in DC. And so it's something that is just close to my heart, go-go music. And so as one of the things we do as a chapter is we think of innovative programming for our kids. And in particular, we do like to highlight cultural facts, right? To have our kids experience culture. And so one of the things that my daughter and I thought about is we thought about a program for her grade group. And Jack and Jill, we do have multiple grade groups for our kids. And so we thought about having a go-go activity for her grade group, and then for my son's grade group. And actually my son's grade group chose this as an idea. And so I thought, well, why not just expose them to go-go music? But again, in talking with Barbara, who again is a co-chair for the Gavel Club, she is our legislative liaison and handles advocacy initiatives for the chapter. I thought, let's take that, let's couple that with her initiatives centered around DC Emancipation Day. And why not have a song about it that would be fun for the kids that they can create using go-go music as the backdrop? So that was sort of how all of that came together in terms of me going from just having the idea of the song to it, to enhancing it to work with all of the other initiatives around statehood.
All right. And for those that are just tuning in, you're listening to We Nation Podcast. I'm your host, Uncle Devin, the children's drum cushionist, and I have the awesome team around the nation's capital chapter of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated, and their students and their Gavaliers, I think is what it's called, right? All of them Gavaliers, or?
Every single one of them. And you have to excuse me, I am beaming with pride. They are just doing it. I'm like, yes.
Representing.
And that's right. They are just making me so proud. And when we have a moment, I'd love to tell you a little bit about the Gavel Club, just so that you can know probably why I'm about to burst out of my skin right now.
No, please go ahead and share a little bit about that.
Okay, so the Gavel Club actually is an affiliate of Toastmasters International. Okay. And so for your listeners and for your viewers, I'm sure they are fully aware of what the Toastmasters International brand is, and that they are well known for creating leaders and really giving adults the public speaking tools that they need to be successful, but also move up in their own careers. And so Toastmasters International was interested in creating a similar curriculum that could focus on children. And so that's why they have a Gavel Club. And the Eastern region of Jack and Jill of America really focuses on this because they do want to create, as Mother DeVita just spoke about, real leaders. And so we were excited to get this thing stood up. And so they are really just utilizing all these techniques. I'm checking it off in my head like, yes, perfect. And I'm just so very proud of them. And they, when you'll see, they do an amazing job at taking the Gavel Club curriculum and really making a persuasive speech that intersects with who they are as people, right? They are our children who are the next generation. And if we are not successful at making DC 51st state, it's going to be up to them. And so I'm just so proud of them because they are persuasive. I saw your eyebrow going up like, really? Is that true? And my girls and my boy, they are just giving you the facts and they know all about it. And they're persuading you just like they've been taught.
Great. That is excellent. And not only just how they've been taught, but I can tell it's more than just them regurgitating information. This is something that they know, they've studied, this is a part of them. And that's what I love about what I'm hearing about that. And so, Davida, you had reached out to me, and for those of you who have been listening to We Nation Radio and the Uncle Devin Show know that I grew up go-go music. I grew up in Sea Pleasant, Maryland, although I was born in Washington, D.C. and came back to D.C. in 1998. But I breathed go-go music my entire life. So when you asked me to create a go-go rhythm for this project, it really came to me so easily. And knowing that the other part of it is that how I use my music to be able to uplift. Because I've not been one to really play a lot of just the regular music for the sake of it. It's got to have a purpose. So this was a great experience for me. And so again, we will be sharing with the audience the song as a part of this particular part. So I know that Simone, you said that you were part of the actual song. And so Davida, I want you to talk a little bit. I created the music, and then you brought children in, and you worked with other. Who else did you work with to help bring this about? And I think Herb White or whomever else was also helpful in this. Mm-hmm.
Sure. So let me elaborate on that. So of course we started with you. And so, I tasked you with coming up with just a great go-go beat that was reminiscent of the go-go music that you and I probably heard many, 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 many years ago, right? Because we know go-go music has changed a bit over the decades. Yes. So we started there. And then with the grade group, so what we did, let me step back. So with Jack and Jill, typically for every program, we have multiple moms that help to bring that idea to fruition with the children. And so what we did was we took that go-go beat. We had a program where, again, we highlighted go-go music, just the culture, the artistry of that music. And then afterwards, we said, you know what, guys, let's create some lyrics to this wonderful beat we've created, all focused on DC statehood. And so what we did was we had a brainstorming session, what I would call a whiteboarding session, where the kids just threw out lots and lots of ideas about DC. You'll hear them in the song. And we had, so Kai's mom, who's not on camera now, but she helped, and a couple of the other moms helped, and we helped, sort of tease out different things that the kids like about the city. We also talked about some of the issues that Kai and Riley and Simone talked about in terms of statehood. And then we sort of put that all together and then came up with the verses for the song. Now, with Simone and Grant, we had worked on the hook for the song just so that we could kind of move it along a little bit, but the kids all participated in helping create the verses for the song. And then we worked with Herb White, who is a fantastic producer. He was so great with the kids and, letting all of them wear the headphones to get before the mic and to really do their piece. And then he put it all together. And what we now have is a fantastic DC Statehood Go-Go song. And I tell you, I could not be prouder of the work that these kids did to put that together. It was a great experience for them and for me as well.
Yeah.
Place to be. It's our home and it's amazing. Brooklyn, Shepherdburg, Hillcrest, Shaw, Petworth, Capitol Hill, and Acacia. Northeast, southeast, and southwest. Chalk Brown Way, it's the northwest. Half smoked mumbles, hot soul food too. And the Kearney out, there's one near you.
Great place to work and live. Residents in 8 works with a lot to give. We're home for Frederick Douglass, Carter G, who was the father of Black history. We're the nation's capital, but so much more. 700,000 people you can't ignore. DC statehood, what could be better? We all just rock that vote together. Like media, art, and technology. Georgetown, GW, Howard, U, lots of universities for me and you. We pay the U.S. lots of money, no voice in Congress. Man, that's not funny. When you pay taxes, you should have a say in all the laws that run the USA.
And so there you have it. This is Uncle Devin, the children's drum cushionist on We Nation podcast. What an awesome show. You heard from the wonderful people of the nation's capitals chapter of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated, and some of the awesome work that they're doing, the civic work that they're doing, working with young people. And they gave me an opportunity to play some music so that children can educate people about the importance of DC statehood. So listen, you can find more about We Nation Radio by going to our website at wenationradio.com with 2 E's. Or you can also email us if you have any comments or questions at music@wenationradio.com. And you can go to our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at We Nation Radio with 2 E's. Well, listen, I am Uncle Devin, the children's drum cushionist. Thank you so much for being here. And as I always say, just remember that life is a drum. So beat it.